So much for joining us at 10. I'm Mark McPherson. A Madison family is in mourning after a father of 7, already battling stage 4 cancer, was hit by a car while crossing a street on Memorial Day. He passed away on Wednesday. Tonight, WMTV's Shayna Najawan met Derek Allen's wife at the very crosswalk where that crash happened. Shayna, what did you hear tonight?
Mark, Derek spent 5 years fighting cancer, and his family thought that would be their hardest battle. But on Monday, everything changed in seconds.
We're taking it moment by moment, minute by minute.
On Memorial Day, 48-year-old Derek Allen was walking through a crosswalk at the intersection of Kennedy Road and Northport Drive.
Knowing that he had cancer, we thought that that was the way my husband was gonna go. Not knowing that we were gonna have a tragic incident walking through a crosswalk.
He was struck by a car and taken to the hospital with severe injuries and no brain activity. Doctors gave Derek 72 hours, but his wife, Latoya Moss, says the damage was already done.
There was no fighting chance, right? The impact of that car did the damage. Of what we now have is my husband is no longer on this side of the earth.
Derek was a former Monona Terrace employee who turned to Reiki and meditation after cancer took a toll on his body.
He journeyed and scoured through books. He liked to do sound meditation and healing and go on walks.
He leaves behind 7 children, including a 4-year-old.
It's a different life since Monday, a truly different life since Monday.
Latoya says the impact of Monday's tragedy will last a lifetime.
Hopefully, Monday was the last day that this happened to someone, right? That impacts 2 families and in a tremendous way.
Latoya says it could be months before she knows exactly what happened that day, but even through her grief, she's choosing compassion, acknowledging that the crash has deeply affected the driver's life too. Live in the studio, Shayna Najawan, WMTV 15 News.
Shayna, thank you. A GoFundMe has been set up in support of Derek's family. More information can be found on our website, WMTV15news.com.